Hi there once again. This is a homily for the second Sunday of the year in Ordinary Time, and the readings are all tied to marriage in some way. But interestingly, we don't get into the dynamics of marriage between a husband and wife because marriage is a sign of something much, much larger than just this man and this woman getting married and doing what they feel like. The marriage imagery starts with the first reading, Isaiah 62. So this is post-exile, and this is basically God is married to his people. He is acknowledging that the people of Israel are his spouse. And so he is celebrating, I will not be quiet until her vindication shines forth like the dawn. Bear in mind, they're coming back from exile, and consequently, there's a lot of rebuilding to be done. And God immediately kind of takes their focus off, oh, poor us, we're suffering, we're having a terrible time. It's basically, look, you are a sign to the world, get used to it. And so what you have is the next verse, nations shall behold your vindication, and all the kings your glory. You shall be called by a new name. In other words, indicating a major change in status here. And basically, people won't be able to say any longer, oh, look, they're forsaken. Oh, look, they're desolate. But you shall be called my delight, and your land espoused. Now, land, of course, for them was very important because it gave them space in which to worship freely. That imagery of the land shifts with the coming of Christ, so that all our worship is not in a land, but in him. He is the ultimate worship and obviously the ultimate gift to God in Eucharist. But the worship takes place in him, and we simply join that sacrifice that he has already fulfilled in all its glory. So anyhow, back to Israel, and they're being reminded that they're married to God, and so your builder shall marry you, and as a bridegroom rejoices in his bride, so shall your God rejoice in you. The reverse of this, we're hearing all this from God's point of view. The other side of it is Israel should be rejoicing because they're married to God, because they can rely on God, because they have a partner in this world, which, let's face it, is a pretty treacherous world. And in this difficult world, they have a partner they can count on. Moving on then to the psalm, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all you lands. What is happening here is we're being told, again, in a slightly different imagery, that in fact, Israel wasn't chosen just for its own glory. Israel was chosen to be a sign to the nations. It is meant to be, in an Old Testament sense, a sacrament. And consequently, other nations should be aware of what's going on in Israel and be in awe of them because they have a better legal system, they have a peaceful society, etc., etc. Assuming they do, because Israel's only human, just like us, and they messed up a lot. We mess up a lot, and consequently, we don't exactly show that we're espoused to God. Now, announce his salvation day after day. The message to us is, look, we're supposed to be a public religion. This is supposed to be a religion that is serving the whole world. What are you doing about it? How public are you? Do you speak up? Do you make the necessary actions like writing to your congressman or protesting or whatever to make sure that you are putting forward that Catholicism has something to teach this nation and also the whole world. Moving on then, give to the Lord, you families of nations, the glory due his name. That's the reason for us being espoused to God. We are not here for our own private glory and our own private pity party sometimes. We are here for the glory of God. And consequently, we had better be saying to the whole world, look, if you guys follow God in Christ, you will actually understand what giving to glory is to God is all about. And also you will begin to order your nation in a way that makes some kind of sense and will be sensible till the end of time. Moving on then to the second reading, Paul is talking to the Corinthians, and he talks about all kinds of spiritual gifts. This, in fact, is part of the internal character of our marriage to God. We are joined to God much as a husband and wife, a male husband and a female wife, are joined to each other, and consequently they exchange spiritual gifts. We exchange spiritual gifts as well. And so these gifts from God's point of view are gifts of wisdom, gifts of knowledge, gifts of faith, gifts of mighty deeds. Are we acting mightily for God? Moving on, discernment of spirits, and so on and so on. Lastly, then, we have the gospel, and here it's the story that we know so well from John's gospel, and that is the wedding feast at Cana. What Jesus is doing by going to the wedding feast is blessing the whole idea of marriage. And this is obviously marriage between a male man and a female woman. And in this marriage, the celebration afterwards, Mary sees a problem, tells him, and he solves the problem. He multiplies or turns the water into wine. And as a result, when we get to the head waiter, he says to the bridegroom, everyone serves good wine first, but you have kept the good wine until now. In other words, in Jesus' mind, the wedding is worth the good wine. This is the best wine that you can have, and consequently he is saying, look, the marriage between these two people is that precious and that valuable. It's a very simple symbol, but it tells us a lot. And that reading is read so often at weddings. So with that, we have come full circle. We've gotten back into the image of an individual wedding, but in fact, it's telling us volumes about the marriage between God and his people, and in the New Testament, God and his church. Thank you very much.